Okay, are you bringing him in, Deputy Jameson?
Yes, Your Honor. We're lining them up for you right now.
Okay. I called over to the office and they're gonna see if we can get an interpreter. So hopefully that will happen soon. If not, we just may need to keep Mr. Reyes there.
Yeah, we can hold up fast if you want to, so we can keep it flowing.
Okay.
Stand right. Let him, one right there, one right there. Y'all just listen to me and put your mask all the way on. Ready, Your Honor.
Okay. And we'll just have to do Mr. Reyes again at the end.
No problem.
All right. Good morning, everyone. This is your first appearance hearing before the Magistrate Court of Clayton County. My name is Brad Gardner, and I'm a judge in this court. I am not here to conduct a trial in your case or to take a plea in your case. I am here to inform you of the charges that have been filed against you, to advise you of certain rights, to set bail on those offenses that I am authorized to set bail, to schedule a preliminary hearing, and to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney. You have the right to remain silent and say nothing. But should you give up this right, anything you say during this proceeding may be used against you if your case goes to trial. So please don't discuss the facts of your case. During this and all other proceedings, you have the following rights: the right to the presumption of innocence, the right to indictment by a grand jury for most felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors, the right to a speedy and public trial by jury, the right to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you, the right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf, the right to testify on your own behalf or offer evidence in your own defense, the right to have an attorney represent you. If you cannot afford an attorney, one can be appointed to represent you if you qualify. Some of you will be allowed to post unrestricted bonds for your release from jail, which may be cash, commercial, or property. If you post a cash bond, someone will deliver the full amount of the bond and fees in cash to the sheriff's office. The sheriff's office will hold the cash and return it at the end of your case. If you use a commercial bonding company, someone will have to pay a fee to the bonding company for their service. The fee will not be returned. I don't know what fee will be charged, but it is usually based on a percentage of the bond. Finally, if you use property to post a bond, the property will need to have a net equity in an amount equal to 3 times the total amount of the bond. Some of you will have special conditions on your bond that prohibit you from contacting certain people or going to certain places. This special condition will be provided to you on a separate form. You will also be prohibited from contacting the victim while you are in jail. If you violate the court's order, your bond will be revoked, and you could remain in jail until your trial. You could also receive additional felony charges. It is important to note that if someone is listed as a victim in your case, that person will not be allowed to post your bond. Some of you are charged with offenses for which this court is not authorized by law to set bail. In this event, a bond hearing will be scheduled before a judge of the Superior Court of Clayton County, and you will be informed of that date. If you are currently on active probation, this court is not authorized to set bond at this time. Whether bond is appropriate in your case will be reconsidered after your probation officer has had an opportunity to consider this new arrest. The purpose of a preliminary hearing is to determine whether there is sufficient evidence to support the allegations against you. The standard at this stage is very low. A judge will determine whether a charge goes forward at this stage. A judge determining whether a charge goes forward at this stage only has to determine that it is possible that the crime occurred. Everyone has the ability to waive their right to a preliminary hearing. However, you should speak to a lawyer first if you are unsure about whether it is appropriate to waive your preliminary hearing. If you post bond, your preliminary hearing is automatically waived. You will receive notice at the address you give of your next court date. Would everyone please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm any testimony that you give during this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God? Okay. Deputy Jameson, we have the interpreter online now. So let's bring up Mr. Lareyes, and then I will give him the script, and we can get him out of the way and let the interpreter go about her business.
Your Honor, he's standing right here.
Okay. Mr. Lareyes, can you hear and understand the interpreter?
Señor Lara Reyes, ¿puede oír y entender al intérprete? Should I repeat, Your Honor?
Yes.
Señor Lara Reyes, ¿me puede oír y entender? I see he's nodding his head, Your Honor. I didn't hear a verbal response.
Okay. Mr. Lareyes, would you please, as loud as possible, give a verbal response?
Señor Lara Reyes, si puede contestar en voz alta, ¿me puede oír y entender? Once again, Your Honor, I can see that he's nodding, but I can't hear him.
I saw the nod also. Mr. Lareyes, this is your first appearance hearing.
Señor Lara Reyes, esta audiencia es su comparecencia inicial
Before the Magistrate Court of Clayton County.
ante la sala menor del Tribunal de Primera Instancia del Condado de Clayton.
My name is Brad Gardner, and I'm a judge in this court.
Yo soy el honorable juez honorable Brad Gardner. Soy un juez en este tribunal.
I am not here to conduct a trial of your case or to take a plea in your case.
No estoy aquí para llevar a cabo un juicio, en su caso tampoco para aceptar una declaración a acusaciones.
I am here to inform you that you've been charged with one offense of driving without a license.
Estoy aquí para informarle que se le acusa de una sola infracción de conducir sin licencia.
I'm also here to advise you of your rights.
También estoy aquí para informarle de sus derechos.
You have the right to the presumption of innocence,
Tiene derecho a ser presunto inocente,
the right to indictment by a grand jury for most felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors,
el derecho a ser acusado formalmente por el gran jurado cuando se trata de acusaciones mayores
you
o que
have been
proceden
charged.
contra usted,
I'm sorry.
que proceden contra usted con una acusación general cuando se trata de acusaciones menores.
I apologize.
It's fine, Your Honor. Sorry.
The right to a speedy and public trial by jury,
Tiene derecho a un juicio público y sin demora ante un jurado.
the right to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you,
El derecho a ver, escuchar y interrogar todo testigo que comparezca a declarar en su contra.
the right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf,
También tiene derecho de obligar la comparecencia de testigos para que declaren a su favor.
the right to testify on your own behalf,
El derecho de usted mismo dar testimonio
or,
a su favor.
I'm sorry,
No, you're fine. Continue.
or offer evidence in your own defense.
También tiene derecho a presentar pruebas en su propia defensa.
The right to have an attorney represent you.
Tiene derecho a un abogado que lo represente.
If you cannot afford an attorney, one can be appointed to represent you if you qualify.
Y si usted no cuenta con los métodos para contratar a un abogado, uno será designado para usted un abogado de oficio.
The bond for this offense has been set at $1,000.
La fianza para esta infracción se le impone a $1,000.
Do you believe you can post that bond?
¿Piensa que sí puede depositar la fianza, señor? Yes.
You have the right to a preliminary hearing,
Usted tiene derecho a una audiencia preliminar.
and I've set that preliminary hearing date for February 23rd at 8:30 in the morning.
Y su audiencia preliminar ya se señaló para el 23 de febrero a las 8:30 de la mañana.
But that preliminary hearing date will be waived when you post bond, and you will receive a new date in the mail.
Pero la audiencia preliminar quedará renunciada una vez que usted salga en libertad bajo fianza y recibirá notificación de su próxima cita judicial por correo.
Do you plan on hiring your own attorney representing yourself, or would you like for me to make a determination to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Señor, ¿está pensando contratar a su propio abogado, seguir en representación propia, o quiere que yo vea si usted reúne requisitos para un abogado de oficio? Maybe interpreter asking to repeat, Your Honor.
Would you repeat, please, sir?
Señor, ¿puede repetir? I'm so sorry, Your Honor. I really cannot hear him.
Deputy Jameson, can he move a little closer to the computer or the microphone?
Does she tell him to move up? Because I understand.
Señor, ¿puede acercarse un poco más al micrófono? Es que tenemos dificultad para oír lo que está diciendo. ¿Qué fue lo que dijo?
And also tell him to speak up.
Y hable en voz alta, por favor.
Para el abogado no hay.
It's as if the audio, Your Honor, is cutting in and out.
It looked like the mute button came on a couple times when he was speaking. Could he repeat himself?
Si sería tan amable, señor, repetir lo que dijo una vez más. Perdón, no lo estamos oyendo.
No comprendo con lo del abogado.
I don't understand about the attorney.
Okay. If you qualify for a lawyer, I can appoint one to represent you. And the qualification is based upon your income. So I would need you to tell me how much money you make per month.
Si usted reúne requisitos para un abogado de oficio, puedo nombrar un abogado para representarlo. Pero para reunir requisitos, eso se basa en sus ingresos. Entonces usted tendría que decirme cuánto gana.
¿Cuánto gano?
How much did I make?
Yes.
Sí, señor.
¿Cuánto gano con el trabajo?
How much I make at my work?
Yes.
Sí, señor.
Sí.
Yes.
How much?
¿Cuánto gana usted, señor?
Mi trabajo, yo no estoy trabajando ahorita.
At work, I'm not working right now.
Okay. So that means you do qualify for a lawyer. Do you want me to appoint a lawyer for you, give you a lawyer?
Está bien, señor. Eso significa que usted sí reúne requisitos para un abogado de oficio. ¿Quiere que yo le nombre un abogado entonces?
Tengo que hablar con él.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I'm giving you a lawyer.
Le voy a poner un abogado entonces, señor.
Do you have questions about the process of posting bond?
¿Tiene usted alguna pregunta, señor, sobre el trámite de depositar fianza?
Sí, la pregunta es que si pongo la fianza, si depositan la fianza por mí, yo se voy a salir.
Yes, my question is, if the bond is paid for me, then I'll get out?
Yes.
Sí, señor.
Any
Okay.
other questions?
¿Alguna pregunta más, señor?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Muy bien, señor. Se puede retirar. Gracias.
Thank you so much.
You're
for
very
being
welcome, Your Honor.
available.
Sure. Was that the only inmate on your list, sir?
Yes, that was the only one today.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
All right, John, did you want to go ahead and start with the females?
Yes. Tell me your name, ma'am. Did you say Lee?
Northfleet?
Okay. Okay, Miss Norfleet, you've been charged with driving without a license and driving a vehicle with an expired or invalid tag. Both of those bonds are set by schedule, which means they're automatically set. So the driving with no license charge, the bond is set at $1,000. The driving with an unregistered vehicle is the bond set at $500 for a total bond of $1,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, man? You don't know? Yes, bonding companies, they're a percentage, and it's generally somewhere around 10 to 12% of the bond. The Sheriff's Department has a list of bonding companies that are authorized to write bonds in this county, and they will give you those, a list of those companies, and you can call them, tell them what you've been charged with, and they'll tell you what fee they'll charge. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? I see that it says you just started a job. How much do you expect to make per month? Okay. I'm going to find that you qualify, Ms. Norfleet. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Also setting a preliminary hearing date for February 23rd at 8:30 a.m. But that'll be over a Zoom call like we're having now. If you bond out, that date is going to be automatically waived. Do you have any questions of me, ma'am? I'm sorry. Either cash, commercial, or property. So someone could come in with the full amount of the bond and give it to the sheriff's department, and that money will be refunded to you when your case is over. Or you can go through a bonding company and pay a fee to the bonding company, and the bonding company will write your bond, and you will be released under their care. Or if someone has property that has a value that is at least 3 times the bond amount. So we're talking about $6,000–7,000 of equity. That person can use their property to secure your bond. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, you're free to go back. Tell me your name, ma'am.
Dominique Winters.
Okay. Ms. Winters, you've been charged with 1 count of possession of marijuana less than an ounce. That's a misdemeanor. That bond is set by schedule, which means it's automatically set at $1,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, ma'am?
Can I bond out with a bail bondsman?
You can.
Will I be able to call to myself and do it that way?
You can.
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna set a preliminary hearing date for February 23rd at 8:30 a.m. That's gonna be over Zoom call, but that date will be waived when you bond out, and you will receive a new date in the mail. Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer, representing yourself, or do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
See if I qualify.
Okay, you do qualify, Ms. Winters. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me, ma'am?
No, will I be able to bond out today?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, then no.
Okay, you're free to go back. Okay. Good morning. Tell me your name, sir.
David Ashley.
I'm sorry.
David Ashley.
Okay, Mr. Ashley, you've been charged with 1 count of simple battery. The bond for that is going to be set at $2,000, but you've also been given a stay away provision to stay away from Lindsay Dorsey. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you believe you can post this bond, sir?
I'm sorry.
You believe you can post this bond, sir? Okay. I'm gonna set a preliminary hearing date for February 23rd at 8:30 a.m., but that date is gonna be waived when you bond out. Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer representing yourself, or would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
I would like to see if I qualify.
You do qualify, Mr. Ashley. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay, you're free to go back. All right, tell me your name, sir.
Tavion Boyd.
Mr. Boyd, you've been charged with one offense of trafficking in marijuana or trafficking marijuana. The bond is going to be set at $15,000 for that. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. This case is a felony case, so you're going to have a different preliminary hearing date. It's going to be set for March 3rd at 8:30 a.m. and it's going to be over a Zoom call like we're having here today. Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer representing yourself, or would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Hire my own lawyer.
Okay. Do you have any questions of me, Mr. Boyd?
Sir.
You're free to go back. Tell me your name, sir. Mr. Brodus, you've been charged with 6 separate offenses. There's a red light violation. The bond has been set at $500 for that. There's a driving too fast for conditions charge. The bond is automatically set at $500. There's a charge of concealing the ID of a motor vehicle. The bond is automatically set at $500 for that. There is a charge of driving with a suspended or revoked license. The bond is automatically set at $1,500 for that. There's a possession of marijuana less than an ounce. The bond is automatically set at $1,500 for that. And then there is a possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. The bond is going to be set at $5,000 for that. So that brings a total bond of $9,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Yeah. Do I get a bondsman with that?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Because there's a felony charge, the preliminary hearing date is going to be set for March 3rd at 8:30 a.m. in courtroom 201, but that's going to be a Zoom call like we're having here today. Do you plan on hiring your own attorney representing yourself, or would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
You can see if I qualify, right?
You do qualify, Mr. Brodus, so I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back. How you doing, sir? Are you Mr. Carter? Did you say yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Carter, you've been charged with, looks like 9 separate charges. The driving with a suspended license, bond is going to be automatically set at $1,500 for that. The possession of marijuana less than an ounce, the bond is going to be set at $1,500 for that. The distracted driving hands-free charge, meaning having your phone in your hand, the bond's going to be set at $2,000 for that. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 felony charges. 3 or 4 violation of Georgia's Controlled Substance Act charges, and 1 forgery in the second degree. Bond is going to be denied at this time on those 6 felony offenses. I've set a preliminary hearing date for March 3rd at 8:30 a.m. And I've also set a bond hearing date for March 5th at 8:30 a.m. Both of those are going to be by Zoom. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You do qualify, Mr. Carter. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
I didn't understand what you said about the forgery.
About the forgery? The allegation based in the warrant was that there were a number of IDs in your pocket that did not belong to you. I'm sorry, not the IDs. There were 3 $20 bills that were located in the glove compartment that were counterfeit. So it is written up in Georgia as forgery in the second degree. If it was a federal case, it would be possession of counterfeit U.S. currency.
The car that I was driving, sir, wasn't mine, sir.
Okay, so I've appointed a lawyer to represent you, and that's the thing that you need to tell your lawyer, because possession is an issue or could be an issue in your case. Unfortunately, at this point, I can't make a determination as to whether that is true or false. As I said before, I can't try the facts of your case at this point. Any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back, Mr. Carter. Are you Mr. Cooper? I'm sorry? Devon Cooper? Okay. Mr. Cooper, you've been charged with 1 count of, what is this? Possession with the intent to distribute marijuana. The bond is going to be denied at this point on that charge. And the basis for that is a guilty plea that you took in March 1st, 2019. You're a multi-state offender, and it appears that you were recently released. So I'm going to set a preliminary hearing date for March 3rd. I'm going to also set a bond date for March 5th. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? I'm sorry? I couldn't hear you, sir. I'm sorry.
Hire an attorney.
Okay. If you don't have any other questions for me, Mr. Cooper, you're free to go back. You're Mr. Tavon Cooper? Mr. Cooper, you've been charged with the same offenses as Mr. Devon Cooper, or the same offense. Bond is going to be denied in that case also. I'm going to set a preliminary hearing date for March 3rd at 8:30 a.m. I'm also going to set a bond hearing date for March 5th at 8:30 a.m. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? You're going to hire your own lawyer. Okay. If you don't have any other questions for me, Mr. Cooper, you're free to go back. You're Mr. Daniels?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Daniels, you've been charged with 1 count of battery and 1 count of cruelty to children in 3rd degree. I'm gonna set the bond for each of those offenses at $5,000 apiece, which brings a total bond of $10,000. I'm also gonna put a stay away condition on the bond to stay away from an Antoinette Row. Do you believe you can post this bond, sir? Okay. I'm gonna set a preliminary hearing date in your case for February 23rd at 8:30 a.m., but that date is gonna be waived when you bond out. Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer representing yourself, or do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
I represent myself.
Okay. Do you have any questions of me, Mr. Daniels?
I was gonna ask, I was saying like since that was like my first time coming here, I was gonna ask about a signature bond.
Chief Judge Keisha Wright Hill does not allow signature bonds or OR bonds, so I cannot set you a bond in using that procedure.
Cool.
Okay, you're welcome to go back. You're free to go back.
I'll ask you another question.
Yes, sir.
So, with the bond that's already set, is there a way I can get out like sooner than that?
The fastest way to get out is to contact the bonding company. When you go back down from this proceeding, at some point soon, the sheriff's office will allow you to use a phone. They can give you the numbers of the bonding companies that have been allowed to write bonds in this company. This county. You should contact those companies. Tell them what you're charged with, tell them your bond, and they'll tell you the fee that they'll charge for you to get out. Okay, anything else?
That's it.
Okay, you're free to go back, sir.
Clayton Davis.
Mr. Davis, you've been charged with violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, 2 counts, one related to possession of marijuana with the intent to distribute, and one related to the possession of what they believe to be MDMA. And you've been charged with 1 count of driving a vehicle with the high beams on. So you have bond set at $10,000 for each of the drug offenses and $500 for the headlight, which brings a total bond of $20,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
I might have to after I make my call, I do believe so.
Okay. I've set a preliminary hearing date in this case for March 3rd at 8:30 a.m. That's going to be over a Zoom call. Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer representing yourself, or do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
At the moment, I would like to see, I would like you to see if I qualify, but if I decide to change that, it would be possible, correct?
Yes, sir. You do qualify, Mr. Davis, so I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any other questions of me, sir?
Yes, sir. I can bond out as soon as possible, correct?
Yes, sir. So the process is when we're done with this hearing, I prepare the paperwork, I send it over to the sheriff's department. They enter it into their system, and then once your bond is posted, they'll come get you.
You need to be in court on the 3rd of March, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Okay, you're free to go back. Mr. Aiken? I'm sorry?
Brandon Holmes.
Okay, sorry. Mr. Holmes, you've been charged with one offense of simple battery, family violence as a first offense. The bond is going to be set at $2,500 for that. 1 count of criminal trespass as a misdemeanor. The bond is going to be set at $5,000 for that, which brings a total bond of $7,500. And there's also going to be a stay away provision on your bond, a stay away from Janisha Holiday. Do you believe you can post this bond, sir? I've set a preliminary hearing date for February 23rd at 8:30 a.m., but once you bond out, that date is going to be waived. Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer representing yourself, or would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Let's see if I qualify.
Okay. I'm going to find you qualified, Mr. Holmes. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any other questions of me, sir?
Repeat the amount for the bond one more time, please.
$7,500. $7,500. Okay, you're free to go back. Tell me your name, sir.
Lee Eggert.
Mr. Haygood, you've been charged with one count of possession of identification documents. Bond is going to be set at $10,000 for that. That's a felony offense. Do you believe you can post that bond? I'm sorry? Okay. I've also set a preliminary hearing date for March 3rd at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be a Zoom hearing like we're having here today. Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer representing yourself, or do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
You see if I qualify right now.
Yes, sir. You do qualify, Mr. Haygood. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
No, not really.
Okay, you're free to go back. Tell me your name, sir.
Angelo Hawthorne.
Mr. Hawthorne, you've been charged with 3 offenses: reckless driving, following too close, and driving a vehicle with no insurance. The bond for these 3 offenses is set by schedule. The bond for the reckless driving is going to be set at $1,500. The bond for following too close is going to be set at $500. And the bond for driving with no insurance is set at $1,000. So that's a total bond of $3,000. So you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm setting a preliminary hearing date for February 23rd at 8:30 a.m. That'll be over a Zoom call. But if you bond out, that date is going to be automatically waived. Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer representing yourself, or do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
I qualify, please.
You do qualify, Mr. Hawthorne. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Step forward and state your name.
Mr. Hill, sir, you've been charged with 3 offenses. They're all felony offenses. One is the possession of a controlled substance with intent to distribute, and that is marijuana. The bond is going to be set at $10,000 for that. Possession of marijuana with the intent to distribute. The bond is going to be set at, MDNA. Bond is going to be set at $10,000 for that. And also possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. The bond is going to be set at $500, which brings a total bond of $20,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for March 3rd at 8:30 a.m. That's going to be over Zoom hearing like we're having here today. Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer representing yourself, or would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Qualify.
Okay. You do qualify, Mr. Hill, so I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
Yes, can you repeat the total of that bond?
Okay, it is $20,500. Okay, anything else?
No.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Mackenzie Houston.
Mr. Houston, you've been charged with 2 offenses. One is theft by taking as a felony, and that is going to involve the allegation that there was mail in the trunk of your car. The bond for that is set at $3,000. You're going to also have a defective equipment charge, and that's going to be related to your right headlight was allegedly out. So you have a total bond of $3,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Because you've been charged with a felony, you have a separate hearing date from the misdemeanors. That date is going to be March 3rd at 8:30 a.m. in courtroom 201, but that's going to be a Zoom hearing like we're having here today. Do you plan on representing yourself, hiring your own lawyer, or would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
I hired me a lawyer.
Okay. Do you have any questions of me, Mr. Houston?
Yes. I had just got into an accident, and my bumper that's connected to the right headlight, that's the reason it's off. And I was asking, like, is that still an offense?
That's something that your lawyer would have to argue. I could see both sides of it, but it's not something that I've researched. But make sure you explain that to your lawyer. Okay? Anything else?
Nope.
All right, you're free to go back.
State your name.
Jimmy Spencer James.
Okay, Mr. James, you've been charged with 1 count of aggravated assault. And it involves an incident with Miss Kimberly James. I've set a stay away condition on your bond, and I've set the bond at $15,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
My son said he's coming today, so we shall see.
Okay. Clayton County has a list of bonding companies that are approved to write bonds in this county. Your son should be able to get that information, and you should be able to get that information so that you can contact the bonding company. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for March 3rd at 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be over a Zoom hearing like we're having here today. Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer, representing yourself, or do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Would you see if I qualify for an appointment?
Okay. You do qualify for the appointment of a lawyer, Mr. James, so I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
Yes. Also, the house is jointly owned by me and my wife. Would I be able to put that up for collateral?
The short answer is I don't believe so, because it's jointly owned. And there's a prohibition for individuals who are victims in the case from setting a bond. I could also see an argument if, let's say that your equity in the house is worth 3 times the bond amount, that's something that you may be able to use, but I cannot tell you that for certain. That's something that you're going to have to speak to the lawyer about.
Okay.
All right. You're free to go back.
Thank you.
You're Mr. Kimbrough? Okay. Sir, you've been charged with 1 count of obstructing an intersection and one count of obstructing an officer. I have dismissed both of these counts because the allegation is that you were driving a trash truck in an area when they were doing a road check. And it appears to me from what I see in this that there may not have been cool heads on either side, because they're basing their allegation on that they were asking you questions and you were going about your business and not responding. So I'm gonna dismiss both of these charges, but I would say, Mr. Kimbrough, you know, in the future, sometimes a little bit of being put out is worth not going through this process. So do you have any questions for me, sir?
Sorry, I appreciate it.
Okay, you're free to go.
Take your name. Eric Moore.
Mr. Moore, you've been charged with one count of driving with an expired license or license plate or decal. The bond is automatically set at $500 for that. You've also been charged with failing to sign the citation, and the bond is going to be set at $500 for that. You should know, Mr. Moore, that for traffic offenses, it says on the ticket that in lieu of going to jail, you sign the citation. So even if you disagree with what ticket you're being given, by refusing to sign, you're virtually guaranteeing you're going to jail. So you have a total bond of $1,000. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir? I've set a preliminary hearing date for February 23rd at 8:30 a.m. That'll be over Zoom hearing like we were having here today. But if you post a bond, that hearing is going to be waived and you will receive notice in the mail. Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer representing yourself, or would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? I'm sorry. You do qualify, Mr. Moore, so I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me, sir? Okay, you're free to go back.
State your name. Zacharias Parks.
Mr. Parks, you've been charged with 2 misdemeanor offenses. One is failure to have your headlights on. The bond is automatically set at $500 for that. And you've also been charged with possession of marijuana less than an ounce. The bond is also automatically set at $1,500. So you have a total bond of $2,000. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Yeah, you think lower it a little bit so I could?
Well, it's set by schedule. So that means it's automatically set. But you can use a bonding company. I've set a preliminary hearing date for February 23rd at 8:30 a.m., but that date will be waived if you post bond. The hearing will be over Zoom like we're having here today. Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer representing yourself, or do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? You do qualify, Mr. Parks, so I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
London Richardson.
Mr. Richardson, you've been charged with 5 offenses. Violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act as it relates to hold on. Possession of cocaine. You're also charged with crossing the guard line with a white powdery substance that they believe to be cocaine. Those two offenses are felonies. The bond is going to be set at $5,000 apiece for those. You've been charged with driving under the influence of alcohol to the extent that you are less safe. The bond is going to be set at $5,000 for that. There's an open container violation. The bond is automatically set at $500 for that. And there's a charge of failure to have their headlights on. The bond is going to be set at $500. So that brings a total bond of $16,000. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Yes.
Okay, I have set a preliminary hearing date for the all of these offenses for March 3rd at 8:30 a.m. That's going to be in courtroom 201, but it's going to be a Zoom hearing. It's going to say courtroom 201, but it's a Zoom hearing like we're having here today. Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer representing yourself, or would you like me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
See if I qualify, please.
You do qualify, Mr. Richardson, so I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
I don't know.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Mitchell Sanders.
Mr. Sanders, you've been charged with 2 misdemeanor offenses. One is driving a vehicle with the tag concealed, or I think they actually said they couldn't read it. It was something was over the tag where they couldn't read it. There's also a charge of driving without a valid license. Both of these offenses are set by schedule, which means they're automatically set. The bond for the concealing the identity of the tag is set at $500, and the bond for driving without a valid license is set at $1,000 for a total bond of $1,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I've set a preliminary hearing date for February 23rd at 8:30 a.m. That'll be over Zoom call, but you find out that hearing date is going to be waived and you will receive a new hearing date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? You do qualify, Mr. Sanders, for the appointment of a lawyer, so I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me, sir? You do not? Okay, you're free to go back, Mr. Sanders. Mr. Smith? Mr. Smith, you've been charged with 3 offenses. One is driving a vehicle without a seat belt. The bond is automatically set at $500 for that. You're also charged with not having your license, driver's license on your person. The bond is set at $500 for that. And then you're also charged with possession of marijuana over an ounce, which makes it a felony offense. And the bond is going to be set at $5,000 for that. Do you believe you can post this bond of $6,000, sir? You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for March 3rd at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be over Zoom call like we're having here today. Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer representing yourself, or would you like me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? I'm sorry? Okay. Oh, wait, did you say hire your own lawyer? Okay. Do you have any questions of me, Mr. Smith? Okay, you're free to go back. Tell me your name, sir.
Timothy Ray Strickland Jr.
Okay, Mr. Strickland, you've been charged with theft by receiving stolen property, that being a vehicle. The bond is going to be set at $20,000 for that. You've been charged with violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, with the allegation being that you had suspected cocaine in the vehicle. Bond is going to be set at $5,000 for that. The obtaining drugs by fraud charge, that charge is going to be dismissed because there was nothing listed about how you obtained the cocaine or how they believe that it was obtained by fraud. The use or possession of drug-related object charge bond is going to be set at $1,500. So that brings a total bond of $26,500. You believe you can post that bond?
Is there something we can work out?
Okay. I'm going to set a preliminary hearing date for March 3rd at 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be over a Zoom call like we're having here today. I'm going to also set a bond hearing date for March 5th at 8:30 a.m. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Please.
You do qualify, Mr. Strickland, so I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
Yes, there's. I'm gonna just ask straight up. Is there like a way I could like appeal this and then just come to court in person at a different location if need be? Because like I know like what the stuff was, and I understand like you dismissed the case because there's really no proof. And like I was out here trying to find a job, you know, and I ain't had nowhere to go. I felt like, you know what I'm saying, back home I wasn't needed, you know what I'm saying? I was just aware of things I'm gonna be granted in the future. You know, so I was just watching it, you know, seeing people react to certain situations, how other people move, and people was like, you know, basically like stealing and stuff. But I ain't tripping on that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just pray on it, you know. So I was wondering if like it was something else we could work out because March is kind of far, and I ain't got no family I can really call on out here.
The lawyer, you should tell that to the lawyer that I appointed to represent you, because at this stage, all I need to hear is that the officer believed it to be cocaine or believed it to be a drug. Whether it is or not is something that is determined down the road. And I don't want you to tell me anything about how you know it, what it is, or that kind of thing. But that's what you tell your lawyer, and your lawyer can tell that information to the state, or the lawyer can force the testing of the substance. And that is the thing that will lead to it being, dismissed if they're able to show that it's not an illegal substance. The vehicle is something, and again, I don't want you to tell me anything about it, but the allegation that was written in the warrant was that the vehicle was rented and not returned. And so that's something that your lawyer may be able to get reduced down. They call it charge bargaining, meaning that the charge may right now go from theft by receiving stolen property to something else. Okay. Do you have any other questions of me, sir?
Yeah, you said I won't be able to talk to the lawyer until like March 8th?
No, the paperwork that I'm doing here, when you see me moving from side to side, I'm actually filling out paperwork. That stuff goes over to the attorneys today. That doesn't mean they're going to come see you today, but they will at least know that you have been appointed, or they have been appointed to represent you. So because these are felonies, it's going to go to the public defender's office, and they have their own process in place as to how they come and visit people. And to be quite honest, I don't know how they do that now as it relates to this COVID times. So I can't even tell you how they will contact you, but they will contact you. And I know that the district attorney in this county, again, because of the virus stuff, she is trying to work as many cases out as far into the future as she can. So there is a push to try to resolve stuff that they can resolve. Any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back. Mr. Webster, you're charged with 1 count of possession of marijuana less than an ounce. The bond for that is automatically set at $1,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Today,
Okay. I've set a preliminary hearing date for February 23rd at 8:30 a.m. That'll be over Zoom call like we're having here today. However, if you post bond, that date is going to be waived and you will receive information about a new court date in the mail. Do you plan on representing yourself, hiring your own lawyer, or do you want me to see if you're going to hire your own lawyer?
oh, nah, I need a lawyer. I was just gonna pay the bond today.
Okay. So at this stage, if you qualify, I can appoint a lawyer if you want. You don't have to say, I want an appointed lawyer. You can hire your own lawyer, or you can represent yourself. I just need to know if you want me to make that determination today.
I just wanna pay my bond today.
Okay. I'm gonna mark down that you're gonna hire your own lawyer. But if at some point you want to have a lawyer appointed, you're gonna have to go to it's Lister and Hope. You're gonna have to get the paperwork to fill out an application for the appointment of a lawyer, okay? Similar to what you filled out today. Okay, you're free to go back.
I got a question though for you.
Yes, sir.
How much is the bond total? Like,
The total is my side of it is 1,500. The sheriff's department is required by law to add certain fees. I can't tell you what it's going to be because the fees are based upon the bond amount. So you're probably looking at paying an additional maybe $200, and that's a wild guess. Okay, but they will tell you what the total amount will be. Okay, anything else? All right, you're free to go back. Mr. Williams, you've been charged with 1 count of simple battery. The bond for this is going to be set at $5,000. And there's going to be a stay away provision on the bond to stay away from Sonia Davis. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir? Okay. I've set a preliminary hearing date for February 23rd at 8:30 a.m. That's going to be over Zoom hearing like we're having here today. But once you bond out, that date is going to be waived and you will receive a new court date at the address that you give to the sheriff. Do you understand that? Okay. Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer, representing yourself, or do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? You're close, Mr. Williams, but I'm going to find that you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer. And I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
You said the bond is $5,000.
Yes, sir.
I pay that today. I think you cannot today.
Yes, sir. Anything else? Okay, you're free to go back, Mr. Williams. You are Mr. Woodall. Mr. Woodall, you've been charged with 1 count of theft by shoplifting and 1 count of criminal trespass. The bond for the theft by shoplifting is going to be set at $2,000, and the bond for the criminal trespass is going to be set at $3,000 for a total bond of $5,000. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Mental health, whatever.
to.
I'm sorry.
I suffer with mental health. I don't have nobody to play that.
Okay. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer, Mr. Woodall?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you do qualify for the appointment of a lawyer, so I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. You need to tell the lawyer about your mental health related issues, so that the lawyer can help put you in the right circumstance to assist you. It may even help you with these charges. I'm going to set a preliminary hearing date in your case for February 23rd at 8:30 a.m. If you bond out, that date is going to be automatically waived and they'll mail a court date to you. You should be in contact with the lawyer far in advance of that court date. The lawyer may be able to speak to the prosecutor, and they may be able to put you either in a program that will help you with your mental health issues, or they may work your case out in a way that will get you the help you need. Do you understand that?
I had a question.
Yes.
The officer that arrested me last night that for work of crime, I will be able to do an OR bond. Is that even optional? 'Cause I'm in
No, it is the new Chief Judge Keisha Wright Hill. At this time, she's not allowing OR bonds or signature bonds, so I cannot do that for you. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, you're free to go back, Mr. Woodall. You are Mr. Yancey?
Sir.
Mr.
Yes.
Yancey, you've been charged with 2 misdemeanor offenses. One is driving on a suspended or revoked license. The bond is automatically set at $1,500 for that. And the second charge or count is having an improperly displayed tag. I believe the allegation was that it was, let's see, saying that the tag light was defective and they couldn't see your tag, but the bond is automatically set at $500 for that, which brings you a total bond of $2,000. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna set a preliminary hearing date for February 23rd at 8:30 in the morning. But that date is going to be automatically waived when you bond out. You'll receive notification of your new bond date. I'm sorry, preliminary new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? Do you want to represent yourself, or do you plan to hire your own lawyer?
I'm going to represent myself at this time.
Okay. Do you have any questions of me, Mr. Yancey? Okay, you're free to go back.
Have a great day.
You too. Are we done, Deputy Jameson?
Yes, Your Honor, that was the last person. Did you have anything else for us?
No, sir. You have a great day.
All right, y'all. I don't think there was any paperwork we needed to send you, right?
No, we don't have any fugitives today. Do you know who's going to be doing first appearance on Monday?
We're not sure as of right now, but we'll definitely have people available. I'm just not sure who will be doing it.
Okay, I know Courtney sent the email out to let him know, but I'm going to be doing it on Monday. So if anybody asks, it's going to be me. So just they can send the paperwork as early as they can.
Yes, sir, I'm clear. I'll let them know.
Okay, thank you.